so I'm going to put all these cue points on my edits anyway. So if I submit just about everything I make to Direct Music Service, and if I'm going to put these cue points in my edits, I might as well do it before I submit them. And if you want to change them, then knock yourself out. But I set a cue point on the downbeat, and then at the start of the fifth bar of an 8-bar intro, and then the start of the song at the end of the 8-bar intro, and then usually the fourth cue point will be where it's 8 bars until the outro. And that's what I do for most of my edits. Some are a little different. If there's a 16-bar intro, I'll do one on the downbeat, and then the 9th, and then the 13th, and then the beginning of the song. That's just what I do for most edits. So I feel like if I'm going to submit them, I might as well do DJs a favor and save them a little work. If they want to change them, they can change them, obviously. But that's what I do for all of mine, and I feel like it makes a little bit of sense. So
shout out to War and Peace, but how I learned how to set my cue points in a quicker manner is now I just do beat jump. Do you fuck with beat jump at all?
I actually don't. I turn the quantize on, and then I'm sure there's probably an easier way to do what I'm doing, but I've been doing it for so long that I just turn the quantize on in Serato so that it matches up exactly on whatever and you got to make sure that sometimes if you submit or if you make an edit and say you want it to be 108 BPM, sometimes Serato will analyze it as being 108.05 or something like that. Make sure that that's 108.00. And then when you quantize where you want your cue points to go, it'll snap right to the grid. And I just turn that on and I go to and you can see 1, 5, 9 and then wherever
DJs,
you need to set.
Make sure you have your grids turned on. That is so necessary.
Yeah,
agreed.
That
doesn't mean you have to be playing with sync either, but having the grid.
No. I'll be honest. I don't know how sync works. I've tried to figure. I never think to look it up on YouTube. I can't figure out how to use it. If I could figure out how to use it, there are times where I would probably mess around with it, but I can't figure it out. But still, there's definitely a place for the beat grid, just for setting cue points.
The grid is like when that came out.
Life.
Yeah,
the grid is life.
Well, the grid was around with Ableton. There was like an Ableton add-on,
Bridge.
I think, for Serato.
Yeah,
Bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah, that was the first time that Serato had, and now it's just built in, which is great. But
there are those numbers. Basically, when you close the grid down all the way, it's 1, 9, 17, 25.
Nobody counts
33.
by 8 in odd numbers like a DJ.
No, it's amazing, and grid is life. I think I'm going to do a video here for the Daft's YouTube show on how to set cue points.
Oh man, that's a great idea, and it'll be super helpful. Some people probably don't even know what we're talking about with the grid, which is fine if you don't, but you're going to blow your mind because you're.
I think personally, if I had to set one cue point, obviously, if you're downloading a song that has an intro, so it can, especially if you have the grid on, it can be a little obvious where you want to start playing the song. But the most important cue point to me a lot of times is the outro one, because there are songs that don't have 8-bar choruses. And sometimes if you're really busy, there's someone distracting you, you forget that you're playing Empire State of Mind and it has a 10-bar chorus, and you start mixing because you don't have a cue point. You're like, oh, the chorus started, I got to start mixing. If you're doing intro outro mixing on it, obviously. But if you have that cue point, you're like, oh, wait, this is where I need to do it. And you might as well help yourself because it's right there.
I even have cues set for just censorship, right? Oh, this says an F word, right? I keep the dirty version, but it only says the F word one time in the song. But I want to keep that for the club or whatever. So I have the one. I have like a little purple marker that says censored titled. I just know I hit it if I'm doing a wedding. And
that's another good use for them.
Cue points for anything and everything.
For skipping. Sometimes I have cue points in the middle of the first chorus and then the middle of whatever chorus I want to jump to make an edit into a short edit on the fly if I don't have one. That's another good use for them.
That's
so I do that too. I do that too, and I'm actually curious because I love your the way you cue point. I'm wondering if you do the same thing. So if it's I will color code the cue points, right? So if that jump if to the end matches, like it's the same word and I could hit it, then I put the same color cue point. So that I know in my head.
No,
I know that in
that's
my
more.
head.
That's more intense
Well,
than me. Good for you.
Because the reason I do it is because, in all honesty, you weren't able to label
Right.
what each cue point was back in my days when we used to use the Serato,
Yeah.
the Scratch Live. You couldn't do it, so I had to just color code it, and so in my head I do it. But I also love it because, like I said, you got 8 cue points, dude. I don't know what it does. It's just synchronized, right? So I know, oh, that's the next one, done, and I hit it. And I know I could jump to the end. Use the outro.
That's smart. No, I've never actually used the beat jump thing. I need to look into that. But at the end of the day, I feel like I just sometimes I feel like if you're gonna go that far with it, you might as well just make the edit and then have. But I guess there are times where like you can decide in the middle of playing a song that you want to play it a different way, and then you can use like on the fly. You could use the beat jump to. Is that what it's called? The Serato?
No, well, I'm with you at the edit. The reason I make the beat jump I use specifically to set cue points. I don't use it like Warren does to like jump around. I use it specifically.
Oh, you don't?
Set.
You've never used it? Have you ever used the beat jump?
Bro, it's so good for setting cue points. It's crazy. You just you put it on 1, and then you hit the beat jump, and bam, it's on the 5, and then you hit beat jump, and it's on 9. And then you can hit it a couple more times, and then you're like, oh, there's that outro.
You just
in your sleep.
That's part of my workflow for making edits. So, like, if I knew how to do that, that would save me, 10 minutes. It sounds like
I'm gonna make that. I'll make that video. It's going up on.
Hit me in the Slack again.
YouTube show. I'll make that YouTube show.
All right, guys. Make sure y'all hit the like, subscribe, and the bell icon for more Drew and Few Show content. Thank y'all for watching.
The Drew and Few Show.